Bill, I think there's something we're missing from this story that he's.
If you're happy and you're friendly, clap your hands. Something like that. Look,
and we were all on it. We were ready, man.
We're ready to go. And
Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Knapik. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Knapik starts right now. Here's Bill Knapik.
welcome to the show. It is Successful Living with Bill Knapik, and today, Successful Living with Outlaw Dave, Dave Hite, Glenn, Autry, and even Brett. What a show. So let's get down to business right now. So, Dave Hite, let's tell people how you put this together, how you got Outlaw Dave, Glenn, and Brett here today.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you opening up for us, Bill. And you know, we're going to talk about promoting your business today and about how important it is and different ways of promoting it, what to expect from that. And we're also going to talk about staying with it, because in our economy today, you need to promote more than you needed to back.
More than ever.
Absolutely. Especially if you're in real estate like I am, Hite Tech Home Inspections. Getting out there and getting your name and branding it is so important right now. Used to, boy, the market was hot. Anybody could kind of do it. Now we're finding the struggle is there. So we're really going to talk about your business and making sure that you're keeping it in people's thought process. So I want to introduce the guests we have today. We have Brett Axelson.
Hello, guys.
He is a singer-songwriter. Then we have Glenn Autry, who is a promoter extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. Wow.
And then Outlaw Dave, who needs no introduction, is in the Hall of Fame, right?
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
So there's an event, and there's an event that we had on Saturday. It was a great event at Rock Newton's, and we all got together and did some promotion. But take a few minutes and tell us about the event and tell us about what your experience is.
It was a really big success. I tell you, man, we had all different kinds of people come out from all over the community. We had a lot of cars show up, all the way from classic cars to hot rods. We even had an offshore power boat there that had actually won a world championship. But the main thing was the entertainment as well. The entertainment was amazing. We had Alias Band play. We also had the gentleman sitting to my left, Brett Axelson. I mean, he put on a phenomenal show. And, man, I tell you what, it was hard to get everybody to leave, man. They wanted to keep it going.
What Glenn was trying to articulate, and did so very well, but we did a large event celebrating the grand opening of a new destination in the Clear Lake area. It's called Rock Newton's. But what Glenn did was bring together, I think they call it a show and shine, where everybody brings out all their different pleasure crafts, because down in Clear Lake, that's the mentality. People are out there. They like to live the active lifestyle. They like to get out. They like to be around things. And, of course, we were raising money for charities that support the community. I think it was the 100 Club. And anytime we get a chance to get together, we like to bring the community out. Now, David, that's where you got involved, because your company's trying to make a name for itself and get your brand recognized and affiliated with the sort of stuff you want to be affiliated with.
Absolutely. And we certainly love the police. We do. And the police and the firemen and veterans, we give special discounts for them, because we know that they live a life of service, and that's super important to our country. I'm a veteran. I understand you're a veteran. And so...
Well, so when you say you're a veteran, what does that mean?
Well, I was in the Army. I was in the...
Okay,
yeah.
well.
Yeah, was it? Who? Is that Army as well?
Yes. I'm surrounded by Marines all the time. That's why I'm like, hold on.
Right.
When you say I'm a veteran, so you're not a Marine, because you would have led with that, because like a
right. You would have known it, right?
Or a Marine, you're going to let us know within 5 minutes. But
exactly.
Air Force or Navy, sometimes you sort of bury that.
Yeah, you kind of want to go underground on that one.
Or fly over the heads, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I was 3rd Battalion, 1st Special Forces out in Washington State, and so I had a great experience. Love the military, love our police officers, love the firefighters. I actually did a crawfish boil for the firefighters around off of Cross Timbers 3 weeks ago, and they loved it. So it's important, I think. But I want to talk just a second, Dave, Outlaw Dave, about you've been on the air how long?
I always, as you get older, that time that you're, it's 20 years. Well, it's been way longer than 20 years. So it's been about 35 years.
And so 35 years. And of that period of time, how much time would you say it took you to actually get and build a big audience?
So that's the funny thing. When I first got into radio, I was working and tried to get under the wing of mentors. And I remember a disc jockey saying to me, you have to say your name over and over again, even if it doesn't jingle any recognition. You have to say it to get people to recognize your name. And eventually, you won't need to say it anymore, but you'll still be saying it because that's what, you need to remind people of who you are. So I probably did a couple of years before people even began to know who I was. Now, over the length of my career, and thank God it's all been in Texas, but it's been in different markets around Texas. And so I've been different nom de plumes in different markets. I was in San Antonio. I was just Bob. Literally, just Bob.
Just Bob.
Yeah, just Bob. B.O.B. It's just Bob in the morning. It was a horrible.
Really? Did not know that.
This is Bob in the morning.
No audience, no ratings, and it lasted like less than 4 months. But you have to get your name and your brand out there. And now, subsequently, after becoming Outlaw Dave, when other people have said, well, we need to change the name or we need to do something, but why would I give up all this heritage, all
Absolutely.
this equity? With a good brand. Now, your company building its brand and doing things like you were at the MS 150, you did that crawfish boil for the first responders, you did the thing for the 100 Club. You're getting your name out there affiliated not just with the community, but also tithing and charity and stewardship. That's important.
It absolutely makes a difference. And consistency. And a lot of people don't understand the different types of advertising. You've got direct advertising where it is you're absolutely wanting either a call or an email or a text from that advertising. That's what that medium gives you. And radio's not that medium necessarily. Radio is more about building a brand. You can get direct calls from it, but you get your name out there. People may or may not need the service. I mean, we're talking to people today, and probably only 5%, maybe less, need a home inspection. So you want to get your name out there before they have that need in order for them to, when they're choosing, then they think of you. I love it when I walk by, and I love Gallery Furniture. That guy's just done a great job in Houston.
Yeah.
And and everybody knows him and loves him. And even when he had that little spat with the players, we all were like, we don't care. We love this guy,
our
right?
guy.
That's
Yeah.
our guy, right?
He's on our
and
team.
we're like, the guy had a bad day. I mean, come on. Everybody has a bad day.
And
We're
his
like,
YouTube went through the roof as well.
yeah. Mattress Mac, we're like, we love you anyway. But you go by a sign. He has a sign on the highway. It says today. That's all it says. Doesn't say his name. It doesn't have a phone number. It doesn't have anything. You just know what it is. Because you know that Gallery Furniture will deliver your furniture today.
Today, yeah.
And
Today.
I-45 North, Twin Table and Park.
Yeah, there
There you go.
you've got
No,
it.
back.
Yeah.
Right?
Keep-
And what a great thing to tie your name to today. So anytime today is used, you get a little reminder of Gallery Furniture. So I'd like to know, though, how did the Outlaw? I know how the Dave happened. That was kind of a birth thing.
Yeah,
but how did, right? Your mom and dad were like, hey, there's Dave.
Kind of a birth thing. Yeah.
But then how did the
One
Outlaw?
would assume.
Right.
Yeah. Wasn't it a stork?
So that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, how did Outlaw
did
Dave?
Outlaw
It's
come
so
about?
memorable.
Back in I want to say the late 80s, there was a brain trust of talent, creativity. Doug Harris, Pat Fant, Jim Pruitt, they all ran this radio station, an iconic heritage radio station here in Houston. And traditionally, album-oriented rock had this sort of sleepy approach, laid back. Everybody, like they're in the Everglades. Hey, we're playing music. And these guys came in and they put together a radio funhouse, and that was the Stevens and Pruitt morning show. Well,
Stevens Pruitt, I remember
and
that.
so in the evenings, they were looking to replicate that level of energy, not just have some laconic sort of figure. They wanted to have some high energy, in your face, aggressive, and create a street presence. And so they created something called Outlaw Radio, and it would change nighttime radio in rock stations across the country. You had all these, you had Rowdy Radio, you had Rebel Radio, you had Outlaw Radio, you had Nighttime Swoosh, and you had all these different products or brands or programs that popped up. And it became, at least for the originators, this franchise. And so Houston had Outlaw Radio, and it had various hosts over the years. And so when I came to work at KLOL, they said, my name is Dave Andrews, and they go, it sounds like a game show host. You need to come up with it. And it wasn't the first time I'd heard
Tell
that.
them about the prizes, Dave.
Right.
There were
Introduce the guest
Yeah, yeah.
today,
There were definitely
Dave.
prizes.
Dave Andrews, introduce him.
So they said you need to come up with an air name, and there was like 13 different suggestions, and ultimately I was like, well, let me figure it out because I'm going to be stuck with this. And so it was Dave on Outlaw Radio. It was Outlaw Radio with Dave, and it just became this thing, and it married
Interesting.
together. 6, 7, 9 months later, I moved off nights to afternoons, and I said, okay, cool. I don't want to be Outlaw Dave anymore. And they go, no, you are Outlaw Dave. I said, no, I want to be Brother Dave, and my listeners will be the disciples. We'll be Brother Dave and the disciples. And they're like,
Brother Dave and the
they go-
disciples.
They go, no.
Right.
Congratulations for the guys that made you keep Outlaw Dave.
This is-
Right.
this
That
is
this
what
kind of
got
sounded
you
like
here.
a cult there. Yeah,
this is
Outlaw
what-
Brother Dave and the
That was
disciples.
before Waco. That was
It was before Waco?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
maybe
no,
you
that's
could have gotten away with that.
Oh, yeah. You're going back now.
So yeah,
man.
we had the Braves
The
Davidians.
name
No.
Davidian is in there.
The Davidian.
Right. The
Outlaw
Davidian is in
Davidians.
there.
We had the Outlaw Davidian.
Right. That is so
So
funny.
that's and it's now I actually do a show across the country in certain markets over the past 10 years, and it's been Outlaw Dave the whole time. And I actually had a guy come up, a long haul trucker. He goes, man, I was driving through Tulsa. There's a guy in Tulsa using your name and trying to sound just like you. And I go, that's me. It's me.
because that would be me.
That's me. It's still me. It is.
And over the years, how has your audience grown? And since you've taken that moniker of Outlaw Dave on, I mean, I know it always starts out small. How long before that really caught on?
A couple of years.
Okay.
But so now it's one of those things where everybody at the station got behind it. So not just
that was
the
nice.
name, but the brand, the idea.
Gotcha.
And so I volunteered to go and bring any band on stage, from large outside sheds to tiny clubs. I'm like, I'll bring any band on. You don't have to pay me. So I got out in front of as many music lovers as I could. I also
And how many free shows would you say you did?
tons,
Tons,
I mean,
right?
A lot.
Just getting out there.
A lot.
You know,
I
and that's
still,
what-
I still go and do that.
That's
I'll go
the
and bring
thing
on.
I find that people aren't willing to do. If you really want to build a brand, you really
your
want to,
dues.
you absolutely have to pay your dues. For example, I rehab and flip homes, and I bought the home I personally live in. It's in Independence Heights. I have 1/3 of an acre. It's on a hard corner. It's a beautiful piece of property, but I bought it for $52,000. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'd love to do that." And if you find, and they'll tell me, they say, if you find a deal like that, let me know. I'll buy it any day. Of course you will.
Right. If you
Right.
do all the work for
Right.
them.
Do all the work for them. But they said, well, how do you find these deals? I said, you get up every morning, every day, and you look at everything that comes on the market. You put it through your system. And I would look at 1,000 houses before I'd buy one. I'm like, if you're willing to do that, then you're willing to be a rehabber flipper. If you're
No,
not,
I want you to find a good deal for me and just give it to me.
yeah, give it to me.
Can you just
Yeah, just I'm thinking, okay, so I sell this for $52,000 to you. If I'm a realtor, I make $150.
What's wrong with that?
Right, and it has a couple $100,000 of equity in it. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me to be able to do that. But people would love to do it. And it's the same thing when Phil Mickelson, who is so great in the sand. I mean, his game out of the sand is maybe
Which
the
tour,
best.
PGA or the live tour?
Well, either one. I mean, you get that guy in the sand, and there was one person that said, and he hits this beautiful shot, and there was a spectator, and they said, man, I would do anything, is what they said. And he stopped, and he looked at them, and he said, no, you wouldn't. He said, you wouldn't get up at 5 o'clock and hit balls out of the sand till your hands bleed, take a break at lunch, come back, do it all day again. And that's the thing, that's the element that it takes if you really want to build something great. You must dig in and do the work without seeing the rewards. And so how long was it that you did the free work before you really, because like today, Outlaw Dave, everybody knows Outlaw Dave. You can go anywhere, you're well known, you've built the brand, so you're there, and everybody would love to be there.
But even now, I'm continuing to seek out a younger demographic. I'm expanding my exposure. I've tried to lean into country,
Love that.
bluegrass. I mean, so my niche was rock,
Right.
blues-based rock, and so there's metal, there's Christian rock, there's rhythm and blues, there's jazz, there's country western, there's country, and so you have to expand
Urban,
because my goal is to serve the community at large. My goal is to
Interesting.
elevate everyone and make us be a part of a community because, like I always say, we're in this together.
Absolutely,
if you choose
we
to
are.
live in Houston, it's for a multitude of reasons. The standard of living is high, the cost of living is lower, the social stratification is not existent, but it's easier to.
It is much easier. It's a
transcend
great
that.
city.
Yeah,
Agreed.
But
Best city on the planet.
But the forces that be want to separate us, make us just blind little
Absolutely.
consumers, and we need to all come together and go, you know what? If we all helped each other, if we helped each other's businesses, we'd all elevate.
Absolutely. Rising tide raises all boats.
Yes.
A lot of times what stops people's progress is you get progress in an area, you want to expand to another area, it doesn't, it may not translate exactly to that. I mean,
But if you stick, at least in media, if you stick with one audience, eventually they'll age out.
exactly.
So you have to continue to expand your lower end and at the same time expand across the top side of it.
Which is what makes it so amazing when you see some group or somebody transcend decades.
Yes.
Because they have had to do so much change and stay relevant, and there's a humility that it takes to do that. I mean, you look at say Aerosmith, you look at Ozzy Osbourne, one of my favorite singers. That guy has been a genius in every decade. And how you do that, how you match what that decade wants. I mean, his last album was fantastic. And so but in order to do that, you have to continue to grow and continue to take on some humility going, if I want to expand, I'm not going to be the top dog in this. But to become the top dog, I'm going to have to do the same work I did to get to the top dog.
If you're
here.
only doing it for ego's sake, then that becomes a fruitless journey.
Definitely
if
true.
You're doing
Great
it for
point.
other reasons.
That's right.
To have an impact, to grow financially, to expand your brand. When you talk about a home inspection, I mean, 10 years ago, everybody had a cousin or a brother-in-law that did home inspections.
Right.
But the reality is, putting so much money in real estate, whether it's for your personal venture or whether you're flipping, you don't want to get surprised because Murphy didn't notice the cracks.
Exactly. Right, Glenn?
Absolutely, yeah. He was actually at my house yesterday doing a home inspection, and definitely found some stuff Murphy wouldn't have caught.
Thank God you're renting that. What if you had bought that house and all of a sudden now, instead of just having this potential wellspring of money, you now have a suck of money, walls. Recently, obviously, with all the flooding that our community has experienced, those are some of the things that people need to really look at when you look at a home inspection. You need to look at whether there's been water damage. Even if it's been repaired, there can be damage that people wouldn't normally see.
Without a doubt.
Your cousin Murphy is not going to see it by doing a walk. Oh, I got this. And he's got a yellow pad and a mechanical pencil.
Yeah.
And he brought a little stepladder. So the reality is, if you're going to do a business, you have to do it well.
You do.
You have to create a quality service. You have to have great customer relations. And then you also have to have the wherewithal to stick with it.
And I love, just like you do, I love being on the cutting edge. I want to change the industry of home inspections. I want it to become more customer service. We're right now in a transition where it is kind of aging out, and now the millennials are coming in and expressing an interest in it. But the average age of a home inspector is probably late 50s, early 60s, and that industry, they don't like to use a lot of technology. I mean, I have a couple of friends that still use pencil and paper. And in our industry, taking pictures was controversial. First, you're going to take pictures. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Well, because it's great
Times
for
are
the
changing.
customer,
Times are
right?
changing.
And now we have pictures, we have videos, we have infrared, we have drones, we have all this
I
great
was
technology.
definitely impressed with the infrared. That was really neat.
I mean, it makes a big difference,
Which
right?
I've seen it, clearly in the plant when I was in inspections and stuff like that. But to see an actual home inspections company come up and have that kind of tools, I mean, that says a lot.
And we found some water intrusion you would never find without it. I mean, it's amazing. And I know sellers would never cover up anything intentionally. I mean, I know that would never happen.
No.
Brett, that water, the hay fat, it did not come from my waterbed. It did not.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
So, but you can't hide it with that kind of technology. And even in the report software, we want to make it easy to read, and it's good on your phone as it is on your computer. So staying ahead of the industry always takes growth. And I tell people, if you really want to make a successful company, you've got to have enough humility to be able to take that step down. You've always got to be learning. I think I made this statement up, Bill. I'm not sure, but I think I did. The minute you stop learning, you stop leading.
Yes.
And you always need to be learning.
The day you start resting on your laurels is the day that your decline begins.
Absolutely. Begins from right there.
Now, doing radio, doing digital advertising is a great way to reach the audience. But at the end of the day, there's also that clunky, old-fashioned way. You talk about the new generation of homeowners, not just as flippers or investors, but people that are starting out with their homes. You know where they go? They go to Home Depot. They go to Lowe's. Yep. You should, and I'm not saying that I did this with a Sharpie at every bar in town in the ladies' room, but you should put your name on the wall in the bathrooms. With a card, not with a permanent marker.
Not with a knife.
Not for a good time call high-tech inspection. That's not what you're saying.
I think I've seen it.
Yes.
Not in the ladies' room.
I do it
somewhere.
But so there are so many ways to reach your target audience. You just have to figure out who they are and where they are. And you can't just go, it can't just be one thing. It has to be a whole.
It does. It needs to be a multiplicity of things.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Dave, Outlaw Dave, as you are expanding your demographic and working on this, what are some of the things you're doing? And are any of those things have to do with social media? Because right now, when we think about social media, there's so many platforms. Which ones do you use? Which ones are most effective, if any?
So that's something I'm still trying to figure out. And I am obviously trying to surround myself with younger people that can do translations on some of these conversations. But we recently did a huge festival with the mayor's office of special events in downtown Houston, and we deployed a digital marketing company. Now, we interviewed 3 or 4 different companies, and they each had a different proposal, and they had a different approach. But I think at the end of the day, it was all sort of the same thing. They build a profile of what our target patron is.
Interesting.
And then they figure out a way to target them. Now, there's so many different algorithms, and I'm still learning all this. Some of the things that they were explaining to me is they would create, I'm going to use terms that I can't explain, so don't ask me. They would use a pixel on the website, and they were able to identify people that had clicked on an ad on social media, gone to the website, and then during the next round of targeted advertising, they would send that person the secondary ad.
Gotcha.
So they have an initial swath of spots or commercials or reels, videos, and then anybody that showed interest would then a week later be shown a different campaign while still running the first campaign. Now, the first campaign included active lifestyle, motor sports enthusiast. We targeted the Hispanic audience, also with the same profile, active lifestyle, motorsports enthusiast. Houston is such a diverse culture now that if you're losing the sight of the fact that you have a huge Hispanic population. Huge. And not so when you talk about San Antonio, you're talking about Hispanic population that's second and third generation. When you talk about Houston's Hispanic population, a lion's share of them are newly arrived in the state of Texas. So there's so many different layers of marketing and targeting.
Makes a difference.
That it all gets overwhelming. My eyes glaze over, and I'm like, what's this going to cost me?
Right. And how effective is it going to be?
Write a check.
and that's the key, what you said, Dave. How effective are we going to see the results? You're listening to the Successful Living Show. Oh, yeah, you've heard the voice. That's Outlaw Dave. Dave Hite is here. Glenn and Brett are here also. We're going to take a quick break and come right back with more.
At Hite, their motto is great inspections, great customer service, and giving back. They want to make sure their clients receive the best inspection in the industry by using all the latest technology available today to ensure a new home buyer has all the information they need to make an informed decision about their home purchase. They have the most updated infrared to detect hidden water leaks, electrical malfunctions, and missing insulation, as well as moisture meters that can detect moisture 2 to 3 inches beyond the surface to find hidden moisture in the structure. They also have water, Wi-Fi cameras so they can perform a roof inspection even in the rain. Every foundation is measured with the best altimeter to check for variations that could indicate foundation issues. They even have a drone that can go under pier and beam houses so they can see the entire underside of the structure. After performing the inspection, they meet with every client to go over the findings so you can ask questions about anything they found. And they also talk about maintaining your home. Their promise to you is they will never leave until all of your questions are answered. Their reports are easy to read and include pictures and videos of all the important items in your house. They also work with your agent to help prioritize the important items on the report. At Hite, they want to make sure you have the best experience in the industry if you choose to use them for your home inspection. And they are there with you as long as you own your home. As long as you own the home Hite inspected, you can send a picture or video of anything going on with your home, and they will give you a free, unbiased opinion about what is happening and tell you who you need to call to address the problem. You'll also be supporting many local projects to help veterans and underprivileged people in the Houston area. If you need a home inspection, call Hite first at 832-477-0367 or schedule on the web at HiteTechInspections.com. That's HITE techinspections.com. You'll be glad you did.
As we continue, Outlaw Dave is here, Glenn Autry is here, Brett Axelson, and the one and only Dave Hite, Hite Tech Inspections. The gang is all here, and what a surprise, Dave. I don't know how you put this together. 2 Daves, and one of them's Outlaw
Right?
Dave.
I mean, it's
Too
just
awesome.
super, super fortunate. And of course, it was Glenn that brought us all together because I helped to
Way to go,
promote.
Glenn.
Yeah.
No problem. Glad to be here.
That helped to promote the Rock Newtonies, which I always want to say Newt Rockneys.
Right, no,
because-
me too.
That's the
because
trick,
that
yeah.
was the football player.
Yeah, right.
And so, but that was a great event, had a great time there. And so we're talking about promoting your business as well as what it takes to make that business. You don't go out there and promote it and start it, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, occasionally someone will get such a great idea that the idea runs itself. But more than likely, you as the person that has the idea is going to have to promote it and build it and make it into what it is.
And I will say, as I observed this room, and we're talking about promoting, first of all, you have to have something to promote. And I will say, in this room, I'm feeling it in a crazy way. Talent abounds.
There is
in
a
terms
lot
of
of talent in this
creativity,
room,
in
yes.
terms of business acumen, determination. And Brett Axelson, we have talent as far as music goes. Brett, let's tell people about what you do. You are a singer, songwriter. Tell us a little bit.
I try to be. I don't know if I am or
Well,
not.
okay, so
Tell him, Dave.
Dave knows
back
a lot
in
of this.
1980 something or other.
Double Take was the first time I met you, and I played y'all's holiday ball that I was trying to explain to him.
Bring back the holiday ball.
Insane.
The Richmond Strip was the epicenter of the social life of the Houston community. It's right through the 90s and everything. Even when the Rockets won the back-to-back championships, everybody
were
was
there.
cruising up and down Richmond
awesome.
Avenue. There was Michael Steinman had bars. You had everything from Todd's and Windsor Plaza
City
all
Streets.
the way down to the Yucatan liquor stand and
I
6400.
remember that. That's yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Brett's band Rat Ranch was the shining star. They played every hot party, every hot club, every activity that was hot. Rat Ranch was there, and you guys dominated. And now, did you operate with a talent agent? Was there a manager? How did you create that dominance of the scene in the late '80s through the '90s?
Well, what's crazy is that yes, we really mainly used agents. Okay, as far as promoters, we didn't really do that. We did everything. Okay, again, we did everything on our own, and we probably should have had a promoter, but we really didn't. We just kind of went with with hard work, and we were determined to be the best band. And really, what it came down to was staying focus to our audience. Every time we did a show, we told ourselves we'd have band meetings over this, and we'd say, I don't care if you had a bad day or not, guys, perform every night.
Amazing.
Same.
So you're telling me that in order to get a band up, you don't have to just do great music. You have to learn how to promote. Is that what you're saying?
You have to learn
Business
actually
skills?
all kinds of junk. And today is even more that way, especially the social media, which I'm like with Dave, I'm clueless, to be honest with you. And being a singer-songwriter now, it's frustrating for me a little bit because I do not know exactly how to get all that, there's so much. There's
It is
so
definitely
many.
different today.
There's
It
so
is.
many platforms.
Clearly
So
different.
after 20 plus years dominating the entertainment scene, Brett decided, I'll let you tell the story, but you shifted gears. You switched direction. You started something new that was...
Which was old.
Right, which I'm assuming
but not
was
Rat Ranch.
something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, and thanks, Dave. 'cause-
Not just success, but personal success.
And that's exactly what it was. Because what happened was in Rat Ranch, we played everywhere, and we did so well. And the band before that, Double Take. But Rat Ranch, like he said, was so dominant. We played everywhere from Anchorage, Alaska to Panama City Beach, Florida for the MTV Spring Break, celebration.
Yeah.
It was out of control. We've done some great shows. We did a Game 6 for the San Antonio Spurs at the AT&T Spurs Center.
Did they win that year?
They actually got beat by Miami Heat. I can
it
tell
was
you
that
real
year.
fast. I'm going to tell you a fast story real quick. So we're playing in front of 15,000. It's sold out. It's the viewing party. They're playing Game 6 in Miami. They're in the lead. They start wheeling out the champagne because it looks like San Antonio is winning the NBA championship. Ray Allen, I think is what it was, sunk three threes in about 20 seconds, won the game. When we were sitting there, the guy who's wheeling out the champagne, they hit the three, time went out, they lost the game. Now series wasn't over, but that party was. And it was so loud. It was so loud. They were like, and then when you hit that three, it went to nothing. And the guy turns around like a homeless in a wheel with and wheeled that little cart and stuff. So anyway, the other funny part of that, when we did that show, okay, so the guy says, "Now just get in there, do your job, man." So we're kicking it. We're
It's
killing
like
it.
the Titanic.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
So
it. Don't worry about that water down the hallway.
Killing it. So we're doing really well. The crowd's eating it up. Now this is before the game. Actually, we opened up.
Just water.
We started the show, so we did our gig, and then the game came on. Anyway, long story short was we're doing great. Crowds into it. It's loud. They're loud, and then we started the song "White Stripes, Seven Nation Army." Okay, the song Seven Nation Army from
right.
White Stripes. And as soon as we started, they started booing. And we were like, and I mean booing, 15,000.
I've been to this story. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Do you know what I'm
No,
talking
I'm saying I've been at a place where they started booing me, and I go, "Oh my god,
it's
You're
the worst."
But I brought a Hooters girl.
You're like, wait, there's boobies here. There's boobies. No, so I'm sitting there and they're booing, and we're like, okay, wait a second. We've just done like 20 minutes, and they've been cheering. What's going on? We finished the song. They boo us through the whole song. We finish the song. They boo us. They boo us. Then we go to the next song. And they start cheering again. And we're like, that's okay. What is going on? When the gig was all over, the promoter, actually, there was a promoter for that one. And he walks up and he goes, "Man, great show. But why'd you play the White Stripes? Why'd you play that song, Seven Nation Army?" And we were like, well, because it's a big hit song. He goes, "That's Miami Heat's theme song."
Oh, wow.
How about that? And I said, how about telling us? Why didn't you say something?
I'm Herschel Berry, and these are the lyrics.
I may think that Brett just trumped your Astrodome boo story. I think that takes the cake.
It was brutal.
Yeah,
It was
a
brutal.
little bit of research
It
on
was
that
brutal.
one would have made it some difference.
So I'm going
Holy
to finish what
cow,
Dave said,
that's
and I'll tell you
horrible.
what happened. So Rat Ranch was great. I loved the gig. It was wonderful. 21 years I was in that band, and but I'd been writing songs since I've been 16 years old. And they sat in the studio in my house for 16 years. And my father used to always tell me, "I like what you're doing. I like the cover stuff. But Brett, you write good songs, and I think you should do this, and you should do this." My father passed away, unfortunately, when I was just kind of getting toward the end of Rat Ranch. And when Rat Ranch, my drummer retired, He just retired one night. Said, "I'm done, guys. Don't." And I knew right then I didn't have any more desire to play a cover song again. I just didn't. I've done it for 38 years, and I was like, I can't. And so I just thought about my dad, and it was like, I'm going to do this. And
you know what
no
I
matter
love
what
about
happens,
that?
So now,
no matter what happens.
now you're not starting from scratch because you have all this accumulated knowledge, but now you're trying to attract and approach a whole new audience,
which is tough.
Absolutely.
This
You
is
know what
where
I
it's
love
getting-
about that story? Brett, I love that you walked into something you didn't know why they were booing. But what you didn't do was quit or give up.
Oh, hell
And
no.
you went right
kept
on to
going.
the next song
That
and
period.
brought the audience right back. And when you talk about business, you may walk into a situation you have no idea why it's not working. But you did a couple things. You did the research. You're like, oh, I get it now. It's the Miami Heat. But what you didn't do is let that distract you from what you were doing. And that is so huge in business. A lot of times people come up and there's a bump in the road and they're like, well, should we change direction? No, it's a bump in the road. Do the research, figure it out, and then go back. But if you know your purpose, it will keep you moving forward. in
Barry,
business.
what's the old say? It's getting back up when you've been knocked down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can't be afraid. And in business, you can't be afraid to try new things.
You
either.
have to.
And if you're going to be cutting edge, things are going to do one of two things. They're going to work or they're not.
Period. You're either going to succeed
Or
or
they're
you're
not.
not.
That's
But
right.
if you don't, like
You
they say,
don't
if you don't
do
play
it.
the lottery, you're never going to win. You got to go for it, and
You
you're
must.
going to have. You're going to
And you
have fun doing it.
You have
But
to
it's the
let the
truth.
losses go.
Come on,
It
Dave.
doesn't matter.
Lottery? We're playing the lottery now?
You move on.
It is like the lottery.
When that happens, you just move on. And you don't let it take away from your purpose. For example, we were talking about how many Hispanic individuals there are in Houston. Well, now the Vietnamese population has grown to the point where all of the government documentation has to be in Vietnamese. I don't know what that level is, but so what we did as a company is we've gone out and we've figured out how we can translate our inspection reports to over 100 languages because that's Houston. Houston
And
is
that's
international.
amazing. No one
It
else
is
does
no
international.
one else. I didn't find anyone in the country that's doing that. It just was an original idea. I'm like, why wouldn't we have such a diverse population? But you try it, and it may or may not work. And if it doesn't work, you move on. If it does, you continue to do it. But that's the only way to stay on the cutting edge and build differences into any industry or expand what you're doing, like what you're doing now. You're going to try things. It's going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to figure it out. You're going to do the research. You're going to be thoughtful about it, and you're going to move on. But that's the place that most people trip up is, man, they their first failure, and they're like, oh, it was going so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we live in a culture of instant gratification.
Absolutely.
Success on demand does not exist.
No.
There is no, I put enough shekels in my account and suddenly now I'm huge. It doesn't work that way. You have to work. You have to figure it out. You have to try, and then you have to try again.
And listen,
I
man-
learned a lot of that from him, back when Willfest and some other things like that. And I was like, man, Dave, he's like, you know what? Look, quit trying to crack peanuts with hammers. And you really think about that?
You never thought about it like that.
Dude, it's always stuck with me. Same thing about Larry King. He's
better
interviewed
than the lottery.
tens of thousands of
That's
people,
right.
and he's never learned one thing why his mouth's moving.
But
he
listen, guys,
listens, so small stuff like that. I mean, you take it with you, the tools that you have.
Yeah. And if there's anything that when we're talking about getting back up in the restaurant industry and the music industry,
Huge.
COVID,
Both of those are huge.
COVID
Very different.
completely destroyed
Absolutely true.
these industries. And I
Absolutely
mean that.
true.
And I'm not saying it because poor Brett. No, I'm saying it for everyone in that business. And to stand and to come back and to keep trying to find gigs has been so difficult. But again,
Even
I'm
today,
not
is
going to
it-
give
is it
up.
still
This is
difficult
what my
today?
purpose is as a songwriter is to get them out. I'm
And
gonna
you're
keep-
saying
The
that
people
today
that
it's still
didn't
different.
make it wasn't necessarily their fault.
That's right.
But the people that did make it,
It was their fault.
It was their fault.
Absolutely.
See,
It is
again,
absolutely true.
again.
It's definitely true
that was
because at the
well
end of the
said,
day,
Dave.
you cannot choose your circumstances. You can only choose, or you can
you
only
respond.
make choices about what you do.
right? And
That's it.
this whole thing about we're all facing the same storm is absolutely true. The difference is we're in separate boats.
We
and
are.
how you choose to row that boat can determine whether you make it or not. You may put all your effort to you may not make it.
You may not.
You may not make it. Not everybody wins the lottery.
That's right.
But hard work, persistence and patience.
You can guarantee you won't make it if you don't add those in there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing but there is no guarantee, and you have to just accept that. There is no guarantee.
And it's okay.
And it's okay.
It's okay. Don't let that failure bring you
That's
down.
what chapter 11 and chapter 14 are for.
Today.
I'm kidding.
Filed yesterday.
Oh, my God. That's on film, by the way.
You know, I was studying this week. There's a difference between regret and disappointment. They feel very similar. But disappointment is man, it didn't work out. Regret is I didn't do everything I needed to do. And that's an added extra layer there. So I don't ever want to have a regret. I can live with disappointment. I don't want to layer on regret on top of that because I didn't do what I needed to do to make it happen. And that's the thing that separates a lot of people.
The best you can.
Absolutely.
And live without regret.
And live with whatever the result
You'll
is.
always be able to look back and go, I could have done it better. Well, now with the wisdom you've
Of course I
accumulated,
could, right?
But do the best you can and live without regret.
And live without regret.
Live without regret.
You can have some disappointments.
Yeah.
That's fine, but don't allow it to transition to regret.
Life is disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. Period.
And the less you allow that disappointment to weigh you down, entrepreneurs have a different, and I love being an entrepreneur because the losses just aren't that big. I have failed multiple times. I've filed bankruptcy and I retired at 43 because I didn't care. The loss, they are what they are. I'm willing to take the chance to get out there and make it happen. And if I never do, well, that's okay.
That's why these two guys both look young. They don't care. Old, young.
Right. Something about a peanut and a hammer.
Right, I don't know what it was.
Stuck in my brain. It worked.
Cracking peanuts and hammers, something.
I have a feeling.
Next time we do the show, we're gonna need some peanuts and a hammer.
Right, we're gonna do an experiment. We'll have all kinds of tools you
Have
can
a science lab.
open peanuts on, and we'll make sure a hammer's one of them.
But I have a feeling Outlaw Dave has so many sayings too. I'm just
He has a
guessing.
few pithy sayings,
There's
doesn't he?
probably one or two that might even emerge
When he
before
quits
the
saying
end of the
those and he
show.
gets silent and just kind of looks at you, that's when you need to start worrying.
Check, please.
And they're all the ones that he
Right.
doesn't remember. Trust me.
Well, there's
a
that,
lot
too.
more he
Right.
has. He
A lot of
doesn't
those went
remember.
when he
Yeah.
cut his hair. A lot of those went with that.
Does he need a drunk stenographer who's writing it down while he's drunk? He won't
Oh,
remember
my
that,
gosh.
but I got it down.
I can tell you right. Yeah, we've had some good times.
Life is fun if you have a good time and are paying attention. If
Yes,
you're not
paying
attention,
That's a good one, yeah.
You're prone
Makes a
to make
difference.
the same mistakes, missteps, miscues over and over again. You don't want to do that. You want to try to do it better each time.
Yes, and do some learning. And I was so interesting when I filed bankruptcy. I mean, I was down to my last $2,000 or $3,000 in the bank, and I'm going to tell you, what I learned through that experience is that I was still happy. Life was still good. It was amazing. It was transformational in my mindset because I always didn't want to be poor and I didn't want to not have any money. I didn't want to be able to not pay my bills. And I was like, I didn't die.
They can't take your house or your truck.
So
Right.
it was
Like your
just
range
so
or your
different.
horse.
Yes, right.
I mean, and we're so fortunate. And that failure led 6 years later, I retired. And I guarantee you I would have not retired had that not happened. And so I don't, there was this big, I don't want bad times. I want to avoid them. No, they're okay too. And remember when I was young and when I first married, going to Taco Bell do we have enough in the bank? Do you think, can we do Taco Bell today?
In there.
Oh my God, there were such great times though. And going to a nice restaurant only happened a couple times a year, but I looked forward to those. And then once I found success, I'll go out and have a $300 or $400 meal 4 or 5 times a week. It's not special anymore. There's a specialness that's lost by that success.
And the people that you lose during the hard times is separating the wheat from the chaff. If you lose somebody when
they're not sticking with you
you're
through the hard
generous
times,
and gracious
absolutely.
and you're surrounded by people, and you go through the hard times, and whether it's partners or associates or clients, when you lose them, You didn't need them.
You did not need them. That's right.
And the thing
that
is
definitely
that
true.
One of the sayings that people always say, and it bothers me. I don't want to get upset with them, but they always say, life isn't fair. No, it was never designed to be.
True.
It was never. It was never
promised that.
Yeah,
Right.
it was never designed to be fair. So it really came down to it's your attitude. I have a positive attitude.
I've never seen this
period.
guy mad one time. Ever.
And
Is that right?
I did never.
Well, you know,
And
that's
he's
true.
a parent, so I don't know where that comes from.
Wow.
I am a
You can be
positive
ugly to this
person.
man. He will smile at you
And he'll
say he
look
loves
at you and be nice.
Absolutely.
I'm a happy, positive person.
I was listening to a radio show and a podcast this week, and do you know what it takes to be in the top 1% financially in the world?
No, not yet, but I'm working on it.
coming.
Not in America, totally different situation, but to be in the
world.
top 1% of the world's economy, you must make $32,000 a year.
Wow.
What?
$32,000 a year in the world's economy puts you in the top 1%. So we are so fortunate.
I've seen it.
I mean, I know. I own some homes in Columbia. Do you know what the minimum wage? Now they just raised it, but last year, do you know what the minimum wage for someone in Columbia was?
25 cents.
$300 a month, and 60% of the population in Columbia lived at that or less.
Yep. I've got a friend that's a doctor from Bogota, and she only made I think $12,000 a year.
It's amazing. Went to school.
Wow.
I mean, an attorney will make $1,000 or $2,000 a month.
Yeah, but kibble's like 50 cents. So.
Yeah.
So, but it's so different when you think about success. And the crazy thing is, if you go down to Columbia, they're happy. They're happy and they're friendly. And they make, and 60% of them make $300 a month or less.
Bill, I think there's something we're missing from this story that he's
If you're happy and you're friendly, clap your hands. Something like that. Look,
And we were all on it. We were ready, man.
we're ready to go. And our private jet leaves to Columbia here in a little bit.
Right,
You'll show us
right
around,
after
Dave.
the show.
You're
I will
gonna
show you.
I'll
Medellin,
bring the
one of the
peanuts.
best cities on the planet. Absolutely. If you've not been to Medellin, Colombia, you
Never
should
been?
absolutely go. It is one of the best places on the planet.
That sounds awesome. You're listening to the Successful Living Show with Bill, Outlaw Dave, Dave Hite, Glenn, Brett. We're going to continue with the last few minutes right after this.
At Hite, their motto is great inspections, great customer service, and giving back. They want to make sure their clients receive the best inspection in the industry by using all the latest technology available today to ensure a new home buyer has all the information they need to make an informed decision about their home purchase. They have the most updated infrared to detect hidden water leaks, electrical malfunctions, and missing insulation, as well as moisture meters that can detect moisture 2 to 3 inches beyond the surface to find hidden moisture in the structure. They also have water Wi-Fi cameras so they can perform a roof inspection even in the rain. Every foundation is measured with the best altimeter to check for variations that could indicate foundation issues. They even have a drone that can go under pier and beam houses so they can see the entire underside of the structure. At Hite, they want to make sure you have the best experience in the industry if you choose to use them for your home inspection. And they are there with you as long as you own your home. As long as you own the home Hite inspected, you can send a picture or video of anything going on with your home, and they will give you a free, unbiased opinion about what is happening and tell you who you need to call to address the problem. You'll also be supporting many local projects to help veterans and underprivileged people in the Houston area. If you need a home inspection, call Hite first at 832-477-0367 or schedule on the web at HiteTechInspections.com. That's HITE techinspections.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Successful Living Show with Outlaw Dave, with Bill, with Dave Hite, Brett Axelson, Glenn Coe, also known as Glenn Autry. Hey everybody, as we wind up the show, first of all, Brett, let's tell people how they could find your music. I know they want to know where it is.
Well, it's on lots of platforms, but if you just go to Brett Axelson Facebook, first of all, that's a lot of my stuff. You'll see all kinds of videos, posts. That's my shows, where they're at. That's the main one. But then there's a lot of them: Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio. I'm on iHeartRadio station. You can go to that and listen to my stuff. So
Axelson.
Axelson.
Brett Axelson.
Axelson, not
It's a real
Danielson.
name, by the way.
Axelson.
It's my last name. That's my last name, for real.
Well, and we want to end this time together. with the story of Outlaw Dave and how he got booed off a stage. So tell us about that.
Go ahead and brought that up. I wouldn't have to tell the story.
Yeah, but you know what? This
Thank you for
story,
bringing it up, Glencoe.
It's definitely one for the listeners, man. It was a really good time, and I think it parlayed at the Astrodome. Am I correct? Am I correct,
okay.
Dave?
So hold on. Glenn's Slick Punk Productions. You can follow him Facebook, Outlaw Dave Show, also on Facebook and all the digital platforms. And obviously, we appreciate David coming out and supporting us at our endeavor at Rock Newtonies yesterday down in Clear Lake. Brett for playing. Bill for having us on. So the story, and it's interesting because it's funny how it got brought up because Brett was talking about being booed at the Alamo Dome or wherever he was performing.
AT&T.
Yeah, okay. And a million years ago, I was out at the Astrodome and we were doing introductions for a monster truck jam, and I was going to come spilling out onto the floor in a jacked up 4x4 from one of my sponsors, Monday Show.
Sounds like fun.
It gets good.
Full of Hooter girls. And so we were supposed to come spilling out, do a donut in the middle, and I was going to jump out with the Hooter girls, and I had a hat on and a duster and everything.
I'll seatbelt it in, I'm sure of it.
Absolutely. No, that's important. So the problem was that that was going to be at halftime. So we had been there earlier for the meet and greet, and then we'd gone up to the press booth, the media center, and we got talking, and you know how people get, and so all of a sudden I'm looking from up there, and at the Monster Truck Jam and the Supercross, they have the dirt hills out there, the whoop-de-doos.
Whoop-de-doos.
The whoop-de-doos.
And so somebody said, you ought to take your monster truck with all your Hooter girls and go do a whoop-de-doo. And so, what a great idea.
No.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Sounds awesome.
So right
I've never
before
done it before. Let me try that.
halftime, we load up all the Hooter girls. They get in the truck. Now, nobody knows I'm going to do this, but they're expecting me to drive out with the truck. So I drive out, hook a hard left, go on the course now, and I hit that first jump, and I catch air, and it scares the bejeebus. This isn't my truck. This is the Monday Chevrolet
I've
truck.
never done that before.
I'm surprised that the airbags haven't gone off. Christina Curtis, Harrison is there with me, the promotions guy. All these, they're all screaming, we've done the first jump. Well, now I'm on the course, so I have to go to at least the next one. So I'm afraid now. So I end up high centering. I don't know if you know what high centering is. It's where you're
stuck. Where you get stuck in the
you're
middle. I
stuck
love it.
baby.
because the wheels aren't touching the ground, but the frame is. So now I'm stuck. And the promotion guy jumps out. He tries to push us off. The girls are screaming. The crowd has gotten restless because now everything is stopped. And they have to bring out a wrecker. They have to drag me off.
No attention at all.
They bring me to
I
the
love
center. The crowd is booing. I've got the Hooter girls. Welcome out. They go, Dave, you got to screw that up. The place is just booing. The Hooter girls trundle out. They're still booing. So I have to wear all that shame, and I leave the floor. But now I'm like, oh my God, have I ruined this truck from Monday Chevrolet?
Oh, right. I didn't even think about the
I
truck.
have to call them Monday, and I go, hey, I'm so sorry. And they go, dude, we were there. Our sign, because it had a sign on the side of the truck, was on the Jumbotron for 7 minutes.
Oh,
while
beautiful.
The crowd moved,
Turn
and
it
they
to
drive
promotion,
up.
baby.
They go,
Promotion.
We couldn't have bought better advertising. I go, wait, you want me to do it again? They're, No.
No more truck driving for you.
Well, here we are. I hate to wind this down, but the
Right.
time has come. Dave, Hite Tech Inspections.
High tech inspection.
It's a
Yeah.
great company. You're on the cutting edge, doing tremendous things all the time. Glencoe, here you are on the Outlaw Dave Show. Outlaw Dave, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having us on.
It
Thank
is
you for having
awesome. Brett, I can't wait to hear your music. I'm going to go to all the various spots.
Love it.
And thank you all for listening to Successful Living with Bill, Dave, Glenn, and Brett today on this special edition. And until next week, Dave, I can hardly wait to see what we do next month.
Absolutely.
when you
We're going to have
return
to keep
once
working.
Again.
Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity. And I do want to say you can call us at 832-477-0367, 832-477-0367. That's right. And Glenn, thank you very much for helping to put all this together and bringing the opportunity to us to be out there for Rock Newtoni's grand opening.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you so much. And thank you all for listening to Successful Living. We'll see you next week. You can also go to radiobill.net. That's right. You can see past shows right there at radiobill.net. Until next week, thanks for listening.
Bill, I think there's something we're missing from this story that he's.
If you're happy and you're friendly, clap your hands. Something like that. Look, and
And we were all on it. We were ready, man.
we're ready to go. And our